you know, I do a lot of talking about trans rights on my stream. You know, do a lot of videos dunking on transphobes, a lot of videos arguing in favor of like trans affirmative care and, you know, respecting trans people's identities and all that good stuff. All those objectively morally correct positions. But I'm not really, you know, tuned into the trans community all that much. Certainly more so than the average person, maybe even the average progressive, but like I am still a cis guy, and I don't really make it my hobby to like, I'm not like a what's the word for it, an enthusiast of the trans culture, I guess, you know what I mean? I don't watch like RuPaul's Drag Race or like eat hot chip and do drug like all trans people do. I don't know. No, in all seriousness, I'm not very, like, tuned into the trans culture, generally speaking. So up until recently, I had no fucking idea who Dylan Mulvaney is. But apparently she's fucking famous as hell. Like, a really massive figure, like, within a certain part of the LGBT community. Now, apparently she's literally, like, spoken to Joe Biden about, like, trans-affirming care and, like, protecting trans people from, like, it getting banned and stuff like that. Like, she's actually, like, so famous, she's been able to go to the White House. And, like, she did Broadway, too. But a lot of lefties don't like her because, you know, apparently she's kind of cringe. Like, from what I hear, she's kind of a cringe theater kid type. And a lot of her TikToks are, well, let's just say even I'll admit this isn't my cup of tea. You know, I can see why I haven't heard of this woman because her content isn't exactly my up my alley, to say the least. Let's take a look.
I am Eloise. I am 6. I'm a city child. I live at the Plaza Hotel, which is huge and wonderful and très elegant, especially at Christmas time. I am Eloise.
So, now, my take on this TikTok is, wow, this is very cringe. This is cringe, you know? It's cringe, but I let it roll off me like water because why should this upset me? There's really nothing here to be upset about. Now we're going to get into what people are upset about, but I'm going to just go ahead and say I'm going to preface the argument that we're going to have to respond to in a minute with my counter argument. How many times have you seen cis women on TikTok lip syncing songs sung by kids from movies? I've seen it plenty. It's a fairly popular trend. Nobody calls it weird when a cis woman does it. No one loses their shit when a cis woman lip syncs a song from a kid's movie sung by a kid on TikTok. It's a TikTok trend. That's all I'm going to say, all right? Nobody cares when a cis woman does what was done here. There are, in fact, plenty of very popular internet figures who are cis women that have built a career on this, in fact. However, this clip went a little bit viral because while many people on the left don't like Dylan Mulvaney because she's cringe and don't really want to defend her because she is cringe, the most bottom-feeding ghouls on the right have taken this as an opportunity to attack this, you know, trans figure who has a very large audience and a lot of influence in a community that, like, a lot of people in this sphere just don't really care about, so they just look the other way, I guess. So here we have Ollie London quote tweeting this with saying, Dylan Mulvaney pretending to be a little girl is very creepy. Dylan has been pretending to be a girl for over a year now and is being celebrated by the liberal media. Over 3,600 likes. Hypers in chat if you don't know who Ollie London is. Let's look at what Ollie London was up to a year ago.
How's it going, everyone? As you know, I am the biggest BTS fan. And you know what? I forgive them for unfollowing me on Twitter. It was 3 years ago. I don't even use Twitter anymore. I forgive. Jungkook, I forgive. So
Just watch.
And you might think, Felix, how can you be the biggest BTS stan? Because I understand BTS, okay? But there's one BTS stan that might have me trumped, and that is, of course, the one, the only, Ollie London. Ollie's been posting a lot lately. Ollie's been very busy. There's a message for
Hey,
Dr. Phil.
So I've just completed my transition to look Korean, to look just like Jimin. This, I think, is my final procedure, so I'm so happy to share this with you, even though you're probably going to be so mad at me. Like, I know you're going to go crazy at me next time you see me, just because you told me not to do anything. You told me to love the real me, love the real Ollie. And I did take your advice for like a year, but then I kind of just changed my mind. So please don't be mad at me, Dr. Phil, but I'm so happy to have transitioned from British to Korean. I'm now...
So that is what Ollie London was up to a year ago. For those of you guys who are unaware, Ollie London has since become a conservative detransition grifter who is now claiming that the left pushed him into becoming trans Korean BTS stalker, Jimin stalker, and that was not the case. Pretty much the entire online left and the trans community was dunking on Ollie London like crazy. So just to be clear, the grift is open to all those who are willing to hop on board, apparently. That said, though, this is just one example of the bottom-feeding ghouls who are going after Dylan Mulvaney, but there are also larger, more sinister figures going after as well. Another very well-known grifter, somebody who I think we can say with literally as much certainty as we said it with Ollie London is also a grifter, Candace Owens, has also decided to declare war on Dylan Mulvaney. Let's go ahead and watch what she has to say.
All right, guys, jumping in to another video.
Oh my God, that's loud. Jesus.
That I saw over the weekend of Dylan Mulvaney. I keep covering Dylan Mulvaney because it's so obvious that Dylan Mulvaney is a pervert. And we used to have a society where we would acknowledge that someone was perverted and we would do everything that we could to keep that perverted person away from people that are vulnerable, especially children. And I can say...
For those of you guys that don't know, every 4 or so months, I do a video updating you guys on all the evidence that Candace Owens is a grifter. I don't know if you guys know this, but there's an active thread. There's a particular website that has a thread updating every once in a while, adding new evidence with receipts and everything, and I mean real receipts. Some of them are court records and shit like that, of evidence that Candace Owens is a grifter. For example, one of my favorites is that Candace Owens claims that the left are that the left are a bunch of lazy slobs who are anti-landlord, and that they're being anti-landlord is because they just hate people who are able to make a good living, yada, yada, yada. Meanwhile, one of her ex-landlords who is able to prove this came forward showing that she had completely scammed them, based by the way, and purposefully left it covered in roaches, didn't pay any rent, left it trashed, it was full of roaches, disgusting. So that was one example. Another really good one is Candace Owens nowadays claims that the I think it's the NAACP hates black people and it's bad for black people, and the concept of hate crimes or suing for a hate crime or suing for discrimination or anything like that is a fake, not real, it's a scam or whatever. Turns out she got the help of the NAACP to sue her school back in the day for racial discrimination, for a cash settlement. There's a bunch of other stuff like that with records of all of it, and I mean real fucking records, the kind of shit you can't fake because anybody can go look it up because it's public on government websites and everything, that kind of shit. So the amount of evidence that Candace Owens is just a grifting piece of shit is enormous. So I just know that going into this, that you're just watching the propaganda of somebody who only cares about getting people to watch her videos and make her money.
Say that there is probably no one that I trust least around children than men that want to dress up like little girls. So here...
But by the way, what she means here, obviously here she's trying to do the, Dylan Mulvaney is a pedo thing. That's what she's trying to argue. But Candace Owens has openly said she thinks any trans woman is a man who is a pervert for trying to dress up as a woman, in her words. So, it doesn't, even outside of the context of, her being dressed in a, young-looking way, even outside of that context, Candace Owens would still have the same position. That's the funny thing.
Is a video of...
To be clear, whatever you find yikesy about the video, Candace Owens and her audience find the fact that she's trans to be the most yikesy thing out of anything in that video, which is a problem.
Dylan dressing up as Eloise in New York City. Eloise, you guys know, the girl who goes to New York City and lives in the Plaza Hotel.
I don't know. Is this before my time? I'm 23 years old. Chat, tell me if this is before my time.
Take it away, Dylan.
I am Eloise. I am 6. I'm a city...
Are we watching the TikTok again? How many times do we have to watch the TikTok? Isn't this going to be copyrighted? All right, whatever.
Chad. I live at the Plaza Hotel.
Reminder that Dylan is an almost 27-year-old grown man, and he dresses up.
Man, the mask has really fallen off with transphobia these days, hasn't it? Like, do you remember back when, like, the transphobes would, when they would, like, at least respect the gender identity of the trans people they liked? Like Blair White, for example. They'd respect Blair White's gender identity and call her a woman. Do you guys remember those days? Now they want to, like... have you seen Blair White, like, engaging with any of these people lately? I don't think they'll talk to her. I don't think they'll have her on. Like, I think they've literally moved to the point where they don't want to have any useful, like, trans people pushing their narrative anymore. At least people like Candace Owens don't. When they're at the point where they're just calling all trans people, like, all trans women, actually, like, men who are dressing up as women. Like, when it's gotten to this point, Candace Owens never respected Blair White. That's true. I think they've always hated each other. But to be fair, like the sphere that Blair White is in, like the Daily Wire sphere in particular, even they were like somewhat cool with like certain trans people that were towing the line for a while, you know? They were passive aggressive and condescending, but not in the same way. Not in the like outwardly hateful way they are now.
In little girl clothing, he talks openly about the fact that he wants to be a little girl. He doesn't say, this is my first day of being a woman, right? This is something even more disgusting. This is my first day of being a girl. He outwardly fetishizes about being a little girl. He wants to be a little girl, a grown man.
Well, she said girl, not little girl.
In a righteous society, we would all condemn this. We would say this is unacceptable. We would say that this perversion is not something that we are...
Jesus Christ, can we just edit the fucking, like, swastika armband on her? This is just a fucking Nazi speech. Dude, being a black conservative really has given, like, just the perfect ground for the most insane Nazi speeches. We've got, like, Kanye West doing, like, his I Love Hitler speech. We've got Candace Owens literally in her literal Sith Lord drip, her Sith lady. What would it be? What are Sith Lord equivalent women called? They wouldn't be Sith ladies. They'd just be Sith Lords, right? What is the term? Chat, any Star Wars nerds? I need your help. Help me make this roll off the tongue well. I know one of you guys in chat has to be a massive Star Wars nerd. Lord is general neutral? Sithette? Sith Dame? Okay, whatever. In her Sith Lord garb here. Like, oh, Jesus.
Are going to accept. But we don't live in a righteous society. And I'm tired of saying, by the way, that the world has gone insane. It is specifically Western civilization, okay?
Wait, does anyone have the clip of Candace Owens saying that Hitler didn't do anything wrong until he left Germany? She specifically said that where Hitler went wrong was when he expanded outside of Germany and started attacking other countries. Not the Holocaust, where he was executing like tons of people within his own country. Not that, no. It's when he started doing it to the rest of Europe. That was when it became a problem. Does anyone have that clip? I would love to see it.
It is specifically America that allows this, because I don't...
Oh, there we go. Thank you, Somniostatic.
Thank you,
Oh, she did it like... Oh, yeah. It was on C-SPAN, too.
Mr. Chair.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
I don't know Miss Owens. I'm not going to characterize her. I'm going to let her own words do the talking.
Okay, here we
I'm
go.
gonna play for you the first 30 seconds of a statement she made about Adolf Hitler.
I agree. I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned by elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have...
By the way, there's no such thing as National Social... You can't say someone was a National Socialist. A National Socialist is a Nazi. That was just a jumbling of words the Nazis made up. And Nazi is like a shorthand for National Socialist. It's just a jumble of words they made up to make their ideology sound like something that made sense and might be palatable to the working class. Like, Hitler was not a National Socialist in the sense that that is an ideology, outside of the idea that he was a Nazi. That's what he was, not a National Socialist, because that's what conservatives say when they want to, not say the word Nazi for some reason. He was a Nazi, right? National Socialism is Nazism. There is no nationalized socialism. That's not a real... group of people that exists, a thing that people are striving for, as far as I'm aware. Socialism and nationalism don't tend to go together very well, from what I can tell, considering one is inherently not reactionary and the other is inherently reactionary. Nationalists do not tend to be in favor of the working class. That's just how it tends to go. Yeah.
Things run well. Okay, fine. Problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German.
All right, so my first question is to Ms. Hershinoff.
Yeah, there we go. So she complains about the clip and whatnot, but yeah, she's an interesting character.
I don't even think in parts of South America this would be allowed. I don't think they would allow this behavior in parts of South America.
I like how she implies, I don't even think in those shithole countries in South America they'd allow this degenerate trans shit. Like, okay, Candace, Jesus. We can hear it in the tone of your voice. God damn.
They would say it is not normal for a grown man to want to wear little girl panties. It'd be that simple. Something we should all be able to say. Rather,
was she wearing little girl pants? I think she was just wearing an outfit that's adult size. It wasn't undersized on her, as far as I could tell. I think it was an adult, woman size outfit. I mean, they make those, so yeah. Why is she concerned with this TikTok person's underpants? Because all of these people are fucking weirdos, Heavy Gretel. All these people are fucking weird. Transphobia does not come from a good place inside of anybody.
I have to be careful, because Western civilization has gone so down the drain. I have to be careful in how I say that, or else I will risk being called a transphobe.
I like the cluttering of her hands touching the lapel mic, by the way. I call trans women grown men who are delusional degenerates, and people might call me a transphobe. I have to be careful, otherwise people might call me a transphobe. Jesus Christ. My favorite thing about, because conservative propaganda is never honest, my favorite thing is when they refuse to honestly state what the left believes. They can't even, meaningfully engage with the concept of transphobia because that means they have to admit they are that. And they don't want to be an anything phobe because that's kind of a dirty word.
Unbelievable. A transphobe. Why would I have hate for this individual?
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and explain a basic fundamental value of conservative content. I've said it a few times. Conservatives view hatred and cruelty towards minorities as a virtue. The left too, but mostly the minorities the left generally advocates for. Cruelty towards minorities is a virtuous act among the right. So to sort of smugly look at the mic after going on a really hateful rant and then say, and then they want to call me a bigot. A bigot. How could they call me a bigot? You know, like, it's the most evil fucking shit. And the reason why they do that, they bust out their evil DreamWorks face when you know, after they've just contradicted themselves in a way that's meant to, like, you know, it's meant to upset, like, you know, a trans person watching it or whatever. Like, that's the point, right? It's meant to upset as many trans people who might watch it as possible. The intent is sort of this this smug wrongness that just it frustrates you. It's designed to frustrate someone who's progressive or someone who's trans. That's what it's intended to do, because upsetting people who are trans is a virtuous act to them.
I want this individual to stay the hell away from my children. I don't hate him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is all
Jesus Christ. Okay.
the time that we have for today. As you know, we have a lot of exciting content coming up on Daily Wire Plus. So if you want to...
I like how a third of this video is just her shilling. Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, here's how I want to finish this off discussing. Dylan Mulvaney is certainly kind of cringe. You know, the content that she makes is certainly not up my alley. It's not my, you know, my cup of tea. But I want you guys to think back to, like, the feminist YouTubers during the Gamergate era, who you think back on as having been, like, kind of cringe but completely harmless, and realize the amount of, like, harassment they got is something that you just, like, you feel so bad for now. And you wish you could go back in time and, like, undo it, you know? I feel like we're seeing the same exact thing now happen to Dylan Mulvaney. Like, overall, she seems like a decent person who's doing good things, but is just kind of, you know, cringe. And much of the left are just kind of saying, too cringe to defend, while the right just tears her apart. Why do these companies sponsor the Daily Wire and whatnot? Yeah, a lot of the very popular companies you'll see sponsoring YouTubers also sponsor the Daily Wire and these hate channels. You can stop that by emailing the sponsors and, like, starting shit on social media, but the left isn't very good at, like, coordinating things like that, despite the fact it objectively works. Though if you do pull that off, then you'll get a lot of shit from normies and conservatives for being, like, for targeting sponsors or whatever. Like, you could literally target Nick Fuentes' sponsors, and you would get shit from, like, drama YouTubers for it. But yeah, anyway. With all that said, I think that the left needs to be more empathetic to Dylan Mulvaney. From what I've seen of her, she's not really doing anything bad, just kind of cringe, and the right are attacking her with some of the most disgusting and vitriolic things you can possibly imagine. With all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one.